everybody, James Shepard here with another edition of the Merchant Sales Insight. Really excited today to dive into omni-channel retailing. And if you go after retail stores of any kind, this could be your hobby store, this could be your clothing store, any place like that, even liquor stores to some extent, but a lot of these places that have inventory that they're managing, you need to understand how omni-channel retailing really works. And so in the edition of the Merchant Sales Insight, I want to preface this one by saying this is definitely one that you probably want to download and read the entire thing or listen to the audio version. So you can go to ccsalespro.com/insights and you can find that there. I also want to say that this particular edition is sponsored by retailcloud.com. So you can check them out, processor agnostic, great system in place. So let's dive in and talk about omni-channel for a minute. Retailers are dying. Like, there's no other way to put it. Small retailers are just like, they're going out of business left and right. Why is this happening? Well, obviously the main reason is competition, right? How are they going to compete with Walmart, with Amazon, that can do things that they maybe can't do, that can offer price points that they can't offer. And what I really think has happened is unfortunate for these business owners because they haven't embraced the kind of e-commerce, mail order, in-store pickup, thing. And what's crazy about that is their physical location actually should be their greatest competitive advantage against Amazon. Amazon doesn't have a little store, right there in that neighborhood. They do. So that should be a big competitive advantage for them. People can come same day and pick something up from their store. But the only way that works is if they have a true omni-channel experience where people can go online, see what they want. They can say, oh yeah, I want to just go pick that up today, or I want that mailed to me, or I'm going to go into the store and find it, right? It needs to all work seamlessly. And unfortunately, what happened was originally you had these point of sale systems, kind of legacy systems. A lot of the smaller shops didn't even use them. Then all of a sudden comes all this e-commerce stuff, right? Shopify and things like that. And it was like, hey, you need to take your business online. And I know a lot of small retailers that said, you're right, we do need to take our business online. So they did. And they created this e-commerce website that was totally separated in isolation from the in-store experience. And their inventory got all screwed up. They didn't know what items they had available and what they didn't. And they weren't great at getting all the operating processes down right. Then they got a point of sale system, right? So then they went out and got a device, and it wasn't in any way integrated with their online store. And then it became even more frustrating, right? And so what you're going to find that these retailers, these specialty retailers, what they really need is they need an all-in-one omni-channel solution in order to make their business work. And so in this edition, I want to take just a couple of minutes to give you a crash course on retailing and help you understand the challenges that retailers face when it comes to especially inventory. I'm going to do a few other editions over the next 12 months here on omni-channel retailing, but today I really want to talk about this key challenge of inventory, which in your mind you might think, oh, this is going to be a really boring video. You really need to understand this if you want to be able to sell retailers. So I'll grant you this is not the most exciting video I've ever shot, but if you actually want to learn something valuable where you could have an educated conversation with any retailer, you're going to enjoy this episode because I'm going to give you exactly that. Now, again, I do want to mention our sponsor because their system really does provide this. Retailcloud.com is processor agnostic. You can do dual pricing across all the channels to eliminate the processing cost. But in addition to that, the cool thing, at least for this edition, is that once you load the inventory into the system, which they do very easily, you can then very quickly and seamlessly create an online store from that software. So it has this one database of inventory that makes this, seamless experience. So if you haven't checked them out before, please go to retailcloud.com and check it out. So how does inventory work? When you go into a retail store and you walk into that little convenience store, or you walk into that bike shop or whatever, the hobby store, and you see items on the shelf. When you see those, what you see is interesting items that you might want to purchase, right? That's what you see. That's what we see. That's not what a retailer sees. What a retailer sees is money. They see cash sitting on the shelf. They see cash sitting there that's just burning their business up, right? How does this all work? Well, what you have to understand as a retailer, if I want to go and stock inventory, right? I'm probably going to make an order of $10,000 to $20,000 for most small retailers. So I'm going to go spend $20,000 to buy inventory. Now, do I have $20,000 as a small retailer? Maybe, but probably not. So instead, I'm going to go to my wholesaler, my vendor that I'm buying all this stuff from, and I'm going to say, hey, look, I need some help here. And they're going to say, oh, no problem. We'll give you 60-day terms. right? So they'll say, we'll just put this stuff on the shelf for you, and you agree that whether you sell it or not, you're going to pay us for it in 60 days or 90 days. Sounds great, right? Yeah, it's unless you're a retailer, and then you're looking at this stuff going, oh my word, like somehow I have to sell all of this in the next 60 days or come up with 20 grand, right? So in a perfect world, as a retailer, you would buy just the right amount of inventory, right? You would have exactly what every customer wants, no more and no less. That's not, of course, realistic, right? But that's the goal. And so these retailers, they need a system that's going to help them move this inventory off the shelf, but also keep track of it so they know what they need to reorder. Like, what inventory do they really need? What's moving? What's not moving, right? What needs to go on sale so they can at least get rid of it even at a loss, but at least they don't lose 100%. So they need to mark it down 50%, get it off the shelf so they can pay off their vendor and be done with it. Importantly, they also need to manage it in an online environment, right? So now it gets really complicated. So it can get complicated. It doesn't really need to. But the idea is now I need to make sure that I'm having an online experience, because the retailers that are surviving today and doing well are retailers that are generally specialty retailers. In other words, they provide something unique that people want. And that it's like, well, I could go to Amazon to find this, but it's like, I really want the experience of like going into the store and experiencing, like, picking out the model train that my son and I are going to build, or I want something really specialized and I'm not confident that me ordering it on Amazon is going to be the right experience. I'd like to go pick it up, right? I'd like to see it. I'd like to get it shipped to me and know that there's somebody within like an hour of me that I could take it back to if it doesn't work properly. So for all of those things, having a great online experience is crucial. But here's a really bad online experience, right? I go online and I say, hey, they have that sweater that I really want, or those pair of shoes that nobody else has. Those are pretty cool sneakers. I think I'm going to buy those, right? I pay for them online for in-store pickup. I'm like, awesome, I'll pick that up on my way home from work today. On my way home from work, I stop in the store and they say, oh, you know what? Somebody came in here earlier today and bought those shoes off the shelf that we had. We only had one pair left, right? Now I'm really upset. Oh, I'll never go to that store again. Next time I won't make that mistake again. I'll go to Amazon. So what has to happen here? Well, we have to have everything working together. When somebody orders something online, it needs to notify the staff, hey, go pull this item off the shelf and put it in the back for pickup, right? On the pickup shelf. Like, we have to have a system that works, okay? So here's a couple things I'd encourage you to take away. And again, I go into a lot more detail with this one in the actual Merchant Sales Insight, which is a PDF document. If you've never actually looked at a Merchant Sales Insight, it really is like an e-magazine. So I would really encourage you to go to ccsalespro.com/insights, check out all the great editions there, download this one and actually read the thing. But for the sake of just understanding the main points, when you go to a merchant, talk to them about their inventory. I ask two questions. I say, number one, I assume your system does track your inventory. Is that right? And they'll say, yes. Some will still say no, which is crazy. Some people literally are still doing inventory with like spreadsheets or notepad and paper. So you never know, you might get lucky. But usually they'll say yes. Then I say this is the question you got to remember. I say, okay, and how does your system handle your online orders and your in-store pickup? Usually they say it doesn't. Right? So if they say it doesn't handle that, then you talk about something like retailcloud.com, which is our sponsor. So understanding those key points, go download the edition and read it. My name is James Shepard. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this edition of the Merchant Sales Insight, or at least the teaser video. Make sure you go and download the full thing and have a great day.